Discover the amazing secret to rebuild discipline, 30 days to life-changing consistency revealed. Emily had never envisioned herself as a statistic, yet there she was, an overwhelmed single mother living in a tiny house on the brink of foreclosure. Every day felt like a climb up an uphill battle that never seemed to end, yet she was determined to hold her family together despite the growing pains. As she walked through the quiet, tree-lined streets of her small Indiana town, she felt both a sense of belonging and a deep ache in her heart. Memories flooded her mind: the laughter of children playing in the park, the neighborly greetings exchanged at the local diner where she worked 2 jobs. But as she stopped to gaze at her family home, a wave of dread washed over her. The place where she had spent her childhood was now a burden, threatened by an uncertain future. At home, 12-year-old Jake had recently traded innocence for rebellion, his bright spark dimmed under the weight of their family crisis. The once engaged boy was now lashing out at school, acting out in ways that left Emily heartbroken. 8-year-old Lily, on the other hand, still held the light of childhood innocence in her eyes, but Emily knew that cracks were beginning to show beneath the surface. It was the 3 of them against the world, and it terrified her to think that without intervention, her family might drift even further apart. One evening, after yet another shift at the diner, Emily stumbled upon an old journal packed away in a box. Flipping through its pages was like opening a time capsule, revealing her youthful dreams and ambitions, the hope she had once defined herself by. With renewed energy pulsing through her veins, Emily made a decision: she would embark on a 30-day challenge to rebuild not just discipline within herself but within her family as well. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With determination coursing through her, Emily laid out a structured routine at home. She envisioned nightly family dinners, family game nights, and a no-technology policy during the weekdays, all meant to foster connection. But her plans began to spiral when Jake rebelled, seeing her approach not as care but as control. Heated arguments filled their home, echoing her childhood nightmares of estrangement. "Why can't you just understand? I'm trying to help," she cried out, her voice breaking in frustration. Amidst the chaos, her neighbors rallied around her, like a surge from the heart of their community. Veterans from the local VFW hall organized a fundraiser for her, while others offered to help watch the kids. Emily struggled to accept their assistance, yet with every gesture, the American spirit of resilience shone brighter. As the month drew to a close, just when Emily thought she was grasping at straws, she discovered that Lily had a hidden talent for art. Every value she held seemed to blur. Were they rising and falling together, or were they letting each other slip away? Tension filled her heart. And then one evening, as Emily stared at her fading family portrait on the wall, the door creaked open. Her estranged husband stepped inside, a shadow of the man she once knew. The air thickened with unspoken emotions, and Emily could feel her heart racing. Was it too late for them? Could true discipline and love fix what had been broken? In that moment, everything she had fought for hung in the balance, begging for a resolution she couldn't find the words to ask for. Emily's heart pounded in her chest as she stood frozen, gripping the edge of the worn kitchen table. The sight of him, the man she had once loved fiercely, brought a familiar ache to her heart. Time seemed to stretch as Jake and Lily peeked curiously from the hallway, sensing the heavy atmosphere but unaware of the storm brewing. "What are you doing here, Sam?" Emily finally managed, her voice barely above a whisper. The man before her took a step forward, his familiar scent a mix of nostalgia and regret. "I came to see the kids," he replied, his voice strong but tinged with a vulnerability she hadn't heard in years. "I didn't want to barge in, but I couldn't stay away any longer." Lily's small hand gripped Jake's arm, clutching onto him as if seeking protection. The flicker of excitement in her wide eyes made Emily's throat tighten. "Daddy!" she squeaked, breaking the silence with innocence that shattered the tension in the air. Jake, however, stood still, a storm brewing in his eyes. Emily could see the inner turmoil on his face, hope mixing with resentment. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about their family, and their fragile unity hung by a thread. Sam shifted uncomfortably. I know I've been gone too long, and I'm sorry. I want to be part of your lives again. Emily's heart ached as old memories flooded back, how they used to laugh together in this very room, sharing dreams under a blanket fort made of sheets. But those moments felt like they belonged to another lifetime. You can't just waltz back in after abandoning us, she shot back, tears stinging her eyes. We need you to be present, not just when it's convenient for you. The words stung, but they weren't all she felt. Longing twisted in her chest, alongside a yearning for what could have been if things had turned out differently. Sam's gaze dropped to the ground, shame crossing his features. I know I'm trying to change, he murmured, desperation creeping into his voice. Jake stepped forward, a flash of anger sparking in his eyes. Change? You think that's what we want? We needed you, Dad. You just disappeared. His voice cracked, and Emily's heart broke for Jake, the boy who was so close to losing his father while holding on to the memory of who he once was. Feeling the weight of their simmering emotions, Emily placed a protective hand on Jake's shoulder. We're trying to heal, Sam. It's not easy for us. Can you see that? Lily, still wide-eyed, stepped closer to Sam. Daddy, you'll stay? We can draw together. I'm getting really good. An electric silence fell, and Sam knelt down to meet Lily's gaze, a glimmer of hope lighting his eyes. Emily couldn't help but feel the flickers of hope wavering amidst their chaos. As the conversation unfolded, it grew evident that forgiveness would not come easily. It would require work, understanding, and trust. Could they rebuild their family from the ashes of neglect? As the night deepened around them, the atmosphere shifted from one of confrontation to something uncertain yet hopeful. I know it won't be easy, Sam finally said, looking into Emily's eyes, but I want to be a better father and husband if you'll let me try. The air hung thick with possibility as Emily considered his words. Could she really open their lives back up to him? She glanced at Jake, whose expression was a whirlwind of frustration and longing, then at Lily, whose innocent optimism was contagious and beautiful. And just when Emily thought she had found a piece of the puzzle, the sound of a rattle from the front door pierced the moment. The weight of what lay ahead began to crush her once more. Who else could it be at this hour, she wondered, heart racing again. It was a night for revelations. After all, would another surprise come crashing in to change everything once more? Emily's heart raced as the rattle at the front door echoed through the quiet kitchen. Sam's eyes darted towards the sound, a mix of concern and confusion etched on his face. Jake had shifted, tension radiating off him like heat. Lily's innocent smile still lingered, overshadowed by the growing unease that engulfed the room. Stay here, Emily instructed, her voice steadier than she felt. The last thing she wanted was for the kids to get swept up in whatever drama was about to unfold. She took a deep breath, steeling herself, then crossed the small space to the door. With her hand resting on the doorknob, she hesitated. What if it was someone else from their past? What if it was a reminder of everything that had gone wrong? But then again, it could also be someone bringing news, something, anything to help navigate the turmoil unfolding around them. Gathering her courage, she leaned forward and opened the door. The wind whipped against her, and the lanterns hanging on the porch flickered. Standing before her was a woman, her face partially obscured by a rain-soaked hood. Emily squinted, recognition dawning as she pushed the door wider. Rachel? She asked, surprised. Rachel was an old friend from their college days, someone who shared so many laughter-filled nights and dreams of the future. Emily, Rachel looked as though she'd run a marathon. I didn't know where else to go. Before Emily could respond, Rachel stepped inside, dripping wet and visibly shaken. Emily instinctively moved aside to let her in, worry spiraling in her chest. Sam, Jake, and Lily all looked at Rachel expectantly, confusion hanging in the air. There is something you need to know, Rachel said breathlessly, pulling in a shaky breath. I wasn't sure if I should come forward, but this is too important. The change in atmosphere was palpable. A heavy silence draped over the room, filled only by the sound of rain pattering against the window. Sam shifted uncomfortably, his earlier momentum faltering as he took a few steps back. What are you talking about? Jake piped up, glancing between the adults. Just tell us, Emily urged, feeling the weight of anticipation. It felt like the world had suddenly paused, all eyes on Rachel, waiting. "I've had news about Sam," Rachel stammered, glancing at him with an almost pitiful expression. "About the reason he left." The statement hit like a thunderclap, freezing all the life in the room. Emily felt her heart drop. She could see the flicker of denial flash across Sam's face. "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice low, almost a whisper. Rachel opened her mouth, hesitating, the truth hanging between them like a loaded gun. Emily felt the tension spike again, a frantic urge to protect her kids from whatever storms were about to break. "It's about your job, Sam." "And something worse," Rachel finally said, her eyes reflecting fear and urgency. With those words, the cracks that had barely begun to heal threatened to widen into a chasm. Sam's face paled, embarrassment and regret mingling. Emily felt a rush of panic that this confrontation was going to expose secrets she thought were buried. "Is it true?" Jake asked, his innocence a beacon of hurt amidst the darkening clouds. Emily stood at the precipice of a choice: to let this moment unfold or to shield her children from truths they weren't ready to face. Could Sam handle the weight of what was coming, or would this revelation push them all further apart? Just as Rachel opened her mouth to speak again, the house was plunged into darkness as the power flickered out, plunging them into a world of uncertainty. What other secrets would be revealed when the lights came back on? The darkness felt suffocating, wrapping around Emily like a heavy blanket. The sudden loss of light left them at the mercy of shadows, and whispers of fear crept into the silence. The kids huddled closer, their small forms a reminder of the fragility of their world. "Mom?" Lily's voice trembled. Emily groped for the light switch, her fingers shaking. "Nothing happened." "Stay close," she said, trying to mask her own unease. She could feel Sam's presence beside her, tangible and yet distant, as if the darkness had stretched the space between them. There was a weight on her chest, a gnawing fear of what Rachel was about to say and how it would change everything. "Rachel?" Sam called out into the dark. "Can you please just tell us?" Okay, Rachel's voice shook, barely cutting through the gloom. Just give me a second." They heard her fumbling, the patter of rain mixing with her soft sobs. It felt like a violation of their sanctuary. Their home had always been a place of safety, now invaded by secrets and shadows. Emily desperately wished for the lights to flicker back on, but the darkness lingered, stretching time and making moments feel like hours. "Do you remember what you told me, Sam?" Rachel continued, her voice steadier, but still quaking with emotion. "About the reason you left?" In the dark, Emily held her breath. The kids were listening, and the uncertainty of the moment hung thick in the air. "Just, please, don't," Sam said, his voice barely above a whisper. "You don't have to know. You need to know the truth. You need to face it." Rachel's determination pressed like a cold hand against Emily's heart. "Is this about the company?" Sam's voice cracked. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" Emily placed a hand on Sam's arm, feeling the tension ripple under her touch. She needed to be a fortress right now, holding their family together. The flashes of strained emotion passing through Sam made her stomach knot. He was a father, a husband, and yet, she could see the boy in him, scared and lost. "Something illegal happened, Sam. You didn't just leave. You were pushed out," Rachel confessed, her tone heavy with regret. "You were in danger." "I thought Rachel." "Stop." Sam's voice rose, scattering the kids' hopeful glances across the dim kitchen. There was a moment of silence, a swallowed breath that ripped through their family. "What do you mean danger? What the hell happened?" Emily's voice was low but firm. "It's complicated. I didn't want to drag you into this, but I have to tell you," Rachel pressed on, sounding desperate. Lily's small hand tightened around Emily's wrist. Sam's silence hit them like a punch, sending ripples of fear and dread across the room. "Tell me." Sam's voice shook. "I overheard something about." Rachel faltered, the weight of what she had to say almost breaking her resolve. Emily could feel the storm brewing, and all she wanted was for one crack of truth to tether them to fortitude, to shield them from more loss. Just as Rachel finally found her breath to finish her thought, the lights flickered back to life, illuminating shocked faces and moments frozen in time. Emily blinked against the bright glow, her heart racing with the urgency of what lay ahead. Sam looked as if he'd seen a ghost. The kids remained wide-eyed, oblivious to the tidal wave of emotions about to crash down upon them. "What did you overhear?" Sam asked, his voice low and urgent, demanding answers. But before Rachel could respond, the world outside erupted in a cacophony of sirens, cutting through the air like a knife. Emily's heart sunk. What had they stumbled into? The sirens roared louder, a chilling reminder that they were tangled in something much bigger than their family drama. What would happen when they found out who else was involved? The sirens blared, echoing off the walls of their now too bright kitchen. Emily felt her heart race, urgency flooding her every thought. Outside, the world was a mixture of chaos and fear, the very essence of danger inching closer as the wailing grew louder. "Mom, what's happening?" Lily's voice was a soft tremor, pulling Emily's focus back to the room. She had to protect her children, to keep that fear at bay. "Just stay quiet, sweetheart," Emily replied, forcing calm into her tone. She couldn't shake the sense that they were on the edge of a precipice, teetering toward an unknown depth. "Sam," Rachel whispered, her gaze darting to the windows, where red and blue lights flickered like a terrible omen. "What if they come for us?" "They won't," Sam said, too quickly. His eyes were wide, but determination coursed through him. "We'll figure this out." But Emily could see the cracks in his resolve. He was still shaking beneath her hand, and she wished desperately for the comfort of something familiar to anchor them. "Tell me what you heard," Sam pressed Rachel again, his voice a blend of fear and desperation. The kids were glued to his side, drawing courage from him but clearly sensing that something had shifted in the air. "Just don't panic, please." Rachel took a deep breath, glancing at the children, then back at Sam. "I heard them talking about a deal going wrong. Some money that wasn't clean. They mentioned names, your name, Sam." The room fell silent, every breath held as if they were collectively waiting for the other shoe to drop. Emily hoped Rachel hadn't heard correctly. "His name? That shouldn't be anywhere near anything illegal." "You were there?" Sam asked, disbelief lacing his voice. "I wasn't supposed to be." "I was in the wrong place at the wrong time," Rachel said, her words spilling out in a hasty blend of regret and fear. "They thought you were an informant, Sam. That's why you had to leave." Emily felt the walls closing in again, the darkness creeping back even in the glare of the lights. The weight of Rachel's revelations sunk into her bones, turning trust into uncertainty. She looked at Sam, and in that moment, everything she thought she knew about him shifted. "Is it true?" she asked softly, though she dreaded the answer. "Did you know?" "No. I swear, Em. I didn't know anything." His voice was pleading, but there was an edge of panic. "I left before it all went down, before I knew about whatever this is." Without warning, the children erupted into questions, fear coloring their wide eyes. "Dad, are we going to be okay?" Sam's own little boy, Jonah, asked, his voice trembling. In that moment, Emily wanted nothing more than to protect them from the storm brewing around them. She knelt down, wrapping her arms around her children. "We're going to be okay. No matter what." But inside, uncertainty raged like a tempest. Outside, footsteps approached, echoing against the pavement. The cracking of voices urgently calling to one another sent shivers down Emily's spine. "Do you hear that?" she whispered, her heart pounding in sync with the footsteps. Sam's eyes widened. "Get the kids to the back." "No, we can't just hide." He didn't want to lose them in the panic. "It's not just about us anymore." Tears pricked at her eyes. "We don't know who's coming, Sam. We have to protect them." Just as Sam nodded, the kitchen door slammed open, and the figure standing there, silhouetted by the bright outside, set off a spark of panic. A stranger, but not just anyone, a man Sam used to work with, the kind of man who always seemed to shadow their past. "Sam," he said, a grim smile on his lips. "We need to talk." As the tension gripped the room tighter, Emily could feel the ground beneath her shift once more. What new layers of danger lay ahead? What truths would emerge from the confrontation that was about to unfold? What secrets were about to unravel, and would they bind them together or tear them apart forever? Sam stepped forward, shielding Emily and the children with his body, his eyes narrowing at the man in the doorway. "What are you doing here, Josh?" His voice came out low, a barely contained growl. Josh's smile widened, but it didn't reach his eyes. "I came to help, but it seems like you're in deeper than I thought." He surveyed the room, taking in Emily's frightened demeanor and the wide eyes of the kids before landing on Sam again. "You can't keep hiding, man. They're not going to just forget about you." "What do you mean?" Sam's voice cracked. "Who are they?" Josh took a step inside, unapologetic. "Your friends from the old days. They want answers, and they know you're still around." Fear pooled in the room like a thick fog. Emily's heart raced as she glanced at the kids, clinging tightly to her. Jonah squeezed Lily's hand, confusion etched on his innocent face. "Stay calm. Everyone just breathe," Emily urged, desperately clinging to the thread of normalcy in chaos. Rachel moved closer to Sam. "What have you gotten us into?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Sam turned to her, guilt flashing across his features, a storm of emotions brewing in his eyes. "Listen, I didn't have a choice. They were dangerous people, and maintaining distance was the only option." His voice faltered. "I thought I was protecting us." "Protecting us?" Emily shot back, her voice a mix of anger and fear. "You brought this here, Sam. Whatever you left behind is crashing into our lives right now." Josh chuckled, but it was devoid of joy. "You think you can just walk away? That's not how it works, my friend. Someone's been watching you waiting." With a sudden burst of defiance, Sam took a step forward. "You don't know what we've built here. I'm not going back to that life. Never." Josh's eyes shimmered with an odd blend of empathy and cynicism. "You don't get to decide that anymore, Sam. The past has a way of crashing the party. And it will have its due." Outside, the sirens wailed on, more officers swarming the street. Their shadows loomed larger, blending with the confusion inside the kitchen. Emily felt as though the very walls were closing in, filled with echoes of her family's laughter, now replaced with dread. "Mom?" Lily's voice broke through the tension, small and frightened. Emily knelt again, the warmth of her children grounding her. "We'll get through this, okay? Together," she said, though she couldn't quell the knot in her stomach. "Mom, what if Daddy go no?" Sam interrupted, his voice fierce. "I'm not going anywhere." The door behind Josh creaked with impatience, the tightness in the air thickening even more. "You'll have to come with me. They want to see you and soon." Emily's mind raced. What could possibly happen next? She didn't know whether to trust Josh or not, she just wanted to protect her family. A sense of urgency clawed at her insides. "What do we do, Sam?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I'll deal with this," he assured her, his eyes locking onto hers, firm. "Just keep the kids safe. No matter what." But deep down, Emily felt time slipping away. How could they trust that they'd be okay when danger was perched on their doorstep, with creepy shadows lurking just outside their bright kitchen? As Sam faced Josh, grappling with the weight of the past, Emily silently pled for strength. Would they find their way through the chaos? Or would everything they fought for come crashing down? And as footsteps echoed outside, a flash of blue and red tangled into the scene, she wondered, what would happen when the truth finally emerged? The sound of sirens grew louder, a piercing reminder that the outside world was crashing into their bubble of safety. Emily's heart raced as she looked back at Josh, uncertainty knit deep into her brow. He remained calm, almost too calm, an unsettling presence that stirred the air heavier. "Sam, please. We need to think this through," Emily said, her voice steady despite the quivering inside her. She crouched low, locking eyes with Jonah and Lily, their innocent faces framed by the chaos. "Everything's going to be okay. I promise." Jonah's gaze darted between Sam and Josh, fear palpable in every glance. Mom, who is he? What is going on? Emily brushed a wayward strand of hair from her son's forehead. Josh is someone from the past. But right now, we focus on what is ahead of us. Past? Is he dangerous? Lily whispered, clinging to her mother's arm. Emily swallowed hard, the unasked question heavy in the room. Just stay close to me, all right? No matter what happens, Sam commanded sharply, a protectiveness lacing his words. Josh took a step closer, nonchalantly leaning against the doorframe, the light casting a long shadow across the kitchen floor. You're all in over your heads. It's not just about you anymore, Sam. They'll take what they want, and they won't stop. Emily felt her chest tighten. What did he mean? Who were they? The unknown felt like a cold hand gripping her heart. There's a car waiting outside, Josh continued, glancing briefly out the window. They've got eyes everywhere. It's not safe for you to stay. No. Sam snapped, then forced his voice to soften as he turned to Emily. I won't let them hurt you. Not now, not ever. The walls pulsed with tension, thick like syrup, as if each word uttered weighed down the air. Emily noticed how quickly the children's breaths began to quicken, their innocence cloaked by this unraveling storm. Just tell me what we need to do, Sam demanded, standing tall, unwavering. I won't go without the kids and Emily. You know that. Then you're making a mistake, Josh shot back, frustration surfacing. You think you're the only one who can protect them? You're a target now, and that makes them one, too. As the sirens wailed again outside, Emily glanced toward the window. Shadows danced outside, figures moving with purpose. The stakes were tipping, and fear flickered in her chest. Mom Jonah's voice barely broke past his lips. What if Daddy has to go with him? A fire ignited in Emily's heart. He won, she assured, but the conviction was brittle. She locked eyes with Sam, searching for clarity. We're stronger together. We have to stick together. A deep silence enveloped them, heavy with the weight of decisions yet to be made. Sam's intense gaze flicked back to Josh, a battlefield brewing behind his eyes. I'll protect them, even if it kills me, he declared, determination cutting through the tension. That's not what I'm asking, Josh replied, his voice lowering, a hint of desperation creeping in. I'm trying to save you all from a fate worse than this. With a sudden move, Emily grasped Sam's arm. Do it for us, Sam. Please. Sam's expression twisted with conflict, caught between his desires for safety and the implications of their past. What if leaving now meant plunging them deeper into an unknown danger? Just then, a loud knock echoed through the kitchen, jolting everyone. The sound reverberated like a countdown, shattering their fragile facade of control. Josh turned toward the door, his demeanor shifting instantly to one of survival. They're here. Fear washed over Emily like ice water, her heart now pounding like a drum. She moved closer to Sam, her instincts sharpened. Stay behind me, he urged, his protective nature shining through the chaos. But could they outrun the shadows of their past? As the doorknob turned slowly, the sound screeching against the wood, Emily held her breath, searching Sam's face for strength. Would they survive the truth that was about to slip through the door? And in that moment of utter uncertainty, she realized there was no turning back now. The door creaked open, revealing a tall figure silhouetted against the fading light outside. Emily squinted, her heart racing in her chest. The world shrank to that moment, the air thick and electric. Step away from the door, Josh, the newcomer commanded, her voice sharp and penetrating. It was a woman, tall and imposing, with sharp features softened only by the way she held her gaze. There was something familiar about her, something that made Emily's heart plummet. Catherine, Josh said, his voice low. I didn't expect you. Clearly, she replied, her eyes moving over each of them, finally landing on Sam. So, this is the new protector, is it? Brave but foolish. Excuse me? Sam shot back, stepping forward, muscles tense and ready. Who the hell are you to come here uninvited? Emily felt the urge to step in, to defuse the mounting tension. But her voice was lost in a whirlpool of fear and confusion. She glanced back at Jonah and Lily, clinging to one another in silent dread. "Mom," Jonah murmured, his voice trembling. "Not now, sweetheart," Emily whispered back, urging Jonah to stay still. She focused on the scene unfolding before her, the confrontation spiraling into chaos. "Catherine, why are you doing this?" Josh asked, desperation breaking through the cracks in his confidence. "We were supposed to be done with this." "Done?" Catherine laughed, a cold sound that sent shivers through the room. "You think you can just walk away? They've come for what they want, and they won't take no for an answer." "Who are they?" Emily interjected, her voice now stronger, fueled by the need to protect her family. "What do you want from us?" Catherine's expression softened slightly, but the danger didn't dissipate. "You're caught in the crossfire, Emily. They want the information Josh has. And if they can't get it from him, they'll use you to get to him." Emily's breath caught in her throat. The weight of Catherine's words pressed down on her like a heavy fog. "But we haven't done anything wrong." "Right and wrong don't matter when it comes to survival," Catherine replied, her voice steady. "I'm here to help you." "Help us?" Sam's voice dripped with skepticism. "By putting us in danger? You're the one who showed up uninvited." "Because I needed to see for myself," she insisted, holding her ground. "This whole thing is spiraling. I can't just stand back and let you all fall." A sudden roar of an engine filled the air outside, tires screeching against the pavement, tearing through the tension like a knife. Emily's heart sank again. They were running out of time. "See? They're already closing in," Catherine nodded toward the window. "We have to move, or they'll find us here. We can buy some time. But we need to trust each other." "Trust?" Sam shook his head, his eyes narrowing. "In this situation?" Emily felt a flicker of hope and determination rise in her chest. They needed to rally together, to find a way through this. She turned to Sam, her voice low yet fierce. "We'll figure it out, together. Just listen to her." Jonah and Lily were watching, wide-eyed and terrified. They were all tangled in a web of lies and danger, but one thing remained clear: they either faced this together or fell apart. "Fine," Sam finally said, a grave acceptance settling over him. "We'll go with you, but only because it's the only way to keep them safe." Catherine nodded, a flicker of relief breaking through her steely resolve. "Let us move then. We don't have much time." With quick movements, they gathered what little they could of few belongings, their courage, and steeled themselves for the unknown outside. As they stepped toward the door, Emily's heart pulsed with a heavy mix of fear and hope. Was this their chance? Or had they just stepped deeper into the darkness? With one final glance back at the kitchen, she wondered if they would ever come back. The sirens still wailed, echoing the uncertainty of their path ahead. And in that moment, the answer didn't feel any clearer. The air was alive with urgency as they made their way outside. Emily felt the cool evening breeze brush against her skin, a stark contrast to the heat of the chaos inside. The low hum of the engine outside rumbled in her ears, a relentless reminder that they were not safe yet. "Stay close," Sam instructed, his voice a mixture of authority and anxiety. Emily nodded, pulling Jonah and Lily closer to her side. The world felt so much bigger now, each shadow a potential threat, every rustle in the bushes possibly signaling their pursuers. The line between fear and determination was blurred in her heart. Catherine led the way with purpose, her tall figure striding confidently across the lawn. "We have to reach my car before they spot us," she whispered urgently, her eyes darting to the road. Josh hung back for a moment, the weight of his past holding him. "Can't we stay and fight this?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Catherine turned sharply. "And risk the lives of your family? We don't have that luxury right now." Josh exchanged a glance with Emily, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. "You think they'll just let us go?" he challenged. "They won't have a choice," she replied, her voice firm. "But we need to move now. No more talking." Emily's heart raced. The fight sparked something in her. It intermingled with her protective instincts, igniting a fiery resolve. They had to keep moving. They slipped around the side of the house, sticking to the shadows. Emily caught a glimpse of the street. Headlights briefly illuminated the darkness, flaring up like warnings in the night. "This way," Catherine urged, her voice a low whisper. They rounded a corner, and Emily caught the glimmer of metal reflected in the light Catherine's car. Relief washed over her, but it was short-lived. She glanced back toward the house. They were still so exposed. "Get in," Catherine commanded, sliding into the driver's seat. Sam helped Jonah and Lily into the back seat while Emily flung herself into the front, the weight of the world heavy on her shoulders. "What now?" she asked, turning her gaze to Catherine, who was already twisting the key in the ignition. "Now," Catherine said, her voice steadier than Emily felt, "we drive. We get far away from here." The engine roared to life, echoing loudly into the night. But as they pulled out of the driveway, the bright headlights of another car turned the corner, locking onto them. "Go! Go!" Sam urged, panic rising in his voice. Catherine slammed her foot on the gas, sending the car racing down the street. Emily felt the wind rush through her hair, but it didn't bring the sense of freedom she had hoped for. Instead, it was drenched in urgency, blending fear and adrenaline. "Who are they?" Jonah squeaked from the back, his eyes wide, voice trembling. "Don't worry about it," Sam snapped, grimacing. "Just hold on tight." Emily glanced at Catherine, who was gripping the steering wheel like it was her lifeline. "You said they were looking for Josh. How do you know they're after us?" Catherine's lips tightened, her expression hardening as if wrestling with ghosts in her mind. "Because I wasn't the only one they reached out to. I've seen what they do to people who get in their way." A chill crept over Emily. They were right in the crosshairs, but she refused to let that defeat her. It was time to fight back, even if she didn't yet know what that would look like. As they sped away, the sirens grew fainter, but the unease lingered. Emily leaned closer to Catherine, her heartbeat syncing with the rhythm of their escape. "We need a plan. We can't just run forever." Catherine's jaw set. "I know a place we can lay low for a while. But you need to trust me. Things are about to get a lot more complicated." Emily nodded, her throat tight. "What if we don't make it? What if—" "Stop." Catherine shot her a fierce look through the rearview mirror. "Hope is what keeps us going now." Emily inhaled deeply, determination drafting inside her like a wave. "Then let us make sure we survive this," she said quietly, though her heart still beat with uncertainty. As the car vanished into the night, they had crossed a threshold, leaving behind not just their old lives, but a promise of what awaited them in darkness. And above the sound of the engine, a single thought echoed in Emily's mind: what if there was far more at stake than they had ever imagined? In the days that followed, the world seemed to spin on a different axis for Emily and her family. They settled in a temporary haven thanks to Catherine, a small cabin tucked away in the woods, far from watchful eyes and lingering danger. The air felt fresher here, a stark contrast to the chaos that had chased them, and yet, every time the wind rustled outside, Emily's heart froze. Sam was quiet, lost in thought while looking out into the darkened woods. Emily felt a pang of sympathy for him. He was a man caught between his past and the family he wanted to protect, and it tore at the seams of his spirit. "Hey," she said softly, stepping closer. "Talk to me." Sam turned, meeting her gaze. "I never wanted this for you, any of you. It's not just your burden to carry, you know. We're in this together," she reassured him, her hand resting on his arm, trying to bring warmth to his chilled resolve. That night, as a full moon bathed the clearing in silver light, Emily gathered the family. The atmosphere had shifted. Lily doodled brightly colored pictures on the floor, and Jonah played with the few toys they had packed. It felt almost normal, despite the lingering threat hanging over them. "Can I hang this up?" Lily asked, a hopeful smile lighting her face, the kind that pierced through even the darkest clouds. "Of course you can," Emily laughed, her heart swelling with pride. "Let us all show those pictures off." As they pinned the drawings on the wall, the sound of laughter seemed to carve a moment of reprieve, a reminder of the lifeline they were forging together, irrespective of the shadows closing in on them. For Emily, it became a tangible representation of hope amidst fear. Catherine entered the cabin, her expression serious. "We need to talk about next steps." The laughter faded, replaced by the weight of urgency. "Are we safe here?" Jonah's innocent voice broke through the silence. "For now," Catherine said, kneeling down to meet his eyes. "But we can't stay forever. We need a plan to confront what's coming. Are you with us?" Sam interrupted, a fierce protectiveness rising. Catherine nodded, her eyes steely with resolve. "It's time we face this. They think you have something they need, Sam, but they don't understand what we'll fight for." Emily watched Sam's face morph from confusion into a hardened determination. "What do we do?" he asked, the fight slowly rising within him. Catherine laid out a strategy, gathering resources, reaching out to allies they could trust. Emily felt a swell of courage. "We're not going to let them dictate our lives anymore. We'll stand together. We're a family, damn it." "Yeah." Jonah cheered, the flicker of bravery igniting within him. Lilia's voice added sweetly, "And we can draw pictures of the bad guys to scare them away." That night, they tightened the bonds of unity, threading together laughter and determination. Each drawing pinned to the walls was not just innocent art, it was a reminder of their resilience and unwavering spirit. The following day, Emily took charge. She reached out to the few trusted friends scattered through the web of their lives, piecing together a network that could stand with them against the oncoming storm. With each phone call, negotiations, and whispered words of encouragement, she could feel the threads tightening into a fabric of support. They were crafting a lifeline that might just be enough to weather the tempest. As night fell again, Emily gathered her family close. They sat on the floor, the walls adorned with children's art, and she felt a sense of peace wash over her. It was tangible, a fleeting moment in time, a reminder of what they were fighting for. "We stand strong together. No matter what happens next, we will face it." Sam pulled Emily close, speaking low as if sharing a secret, yet loud enough for the kids to hear. "We will keep our family safe. They won't take that from us." A calm determination washed over everyone, doing away with anger, fear, and despair. And just then, a knock echoed through the cabin, gentle yet immediate. Emily felt her heart jump into her throat. "Who is it?" she called out cautiously. "It's Catherine," came a muffled reply. "We're about to have company." Eyes widened, fists clenched, the sense of impending confrontation filled the air. As they prepared for what was next, fear rippled through them, but so did the strength of their bond. With each moment, as if reality stood still, Emily realized they were ready. Not just to react, but to fight for their future together. "Let us face them," Sam breathed, taking a stand beside her, shoulders squared, hand in hand. With love, determination, and hope, they walked toward the door. No shadows could eclipse their light now. It wouldn't be easy, but they were far from done, and as Emily turned the knob, she felt alive with defiance. The new chapter of their lives was about to unfold. Now was the time to reclaim their story. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.